Welcome back. My name's Coral Griffiths. We are here at the Copthorne Resort in Solway Park, Wairarapa, with our May Music Marathon. And I have here on the couch with me Shayne Cater and his lovely daughter Florence, who have just come off the stage. How was it, guys?
It was fun, Coral, yeah. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, I've never played in front of a camera before, so sort of had to not look at the big screen out to the right there. And no, it was cool, yeah. It was a really neat thing to do.
Fantastic. So you enjoyed yourselves?
Yeah. Oh, you've got to. You wouldn't want to do these things if you weren't doing it for enjoyment.
Well, absolutely. And so, music.
Music.
Right? Music, yeah. Talking about
Makes the
doing
world go
things
round.
that you do because you love it, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
When did you start?
When did I start? Well, I guess I always listened to music as a youngster, and I always used to play a lot of air guitar, but I never actually played an instrument, and I always thought I could sort of sing the odd bar, so my goal was to learn to play the guitar before I turned 30. And so I started at 29.
Nice.
And yeah, I could probably play about 3 or 4 chords after 12 months, but yeah, kind of just, I'm a pretty obsessive sort of person, so I sort of really went at it and yeah, learnt to play and then learnt to sing a few covers, and then I sort of hooked up with a mate who was doing original songs, so we started writing original songs. So it's kind of just went from there, really. Then I shifted to the Wairarapa, and yeah, I saw an ad in the paper for the Wairarapa Original Music Club. This would have been 15, 16 years ago, I guess, and I had a bunch of my own originals as well as ones I'd written with this friend of mine, and so I went along, and it was at the, well, we used to play at the Slug and Lettuce, or used to be called that, but there was this actually at another place for the first time, and yeah, it was cool. I can actually remember starting to play and Dave Christopher having to run up and turn the amp down because I knew nothing about a sound check or anything like that. I was just get up there and sort of plug in my guitar and sing into a mic, and but it was cool, and yeah, I sort of got asked back again, and next thing I know they were interviewing me for the paper and things like that. So it was yeah, it was a bit of a head trip, really. It was fun.
Nice one. So what actually brought you to the Wairarapa?
The Wairarapa, yeah. Well, I guess it was work-related, the fact that the company that I was working for was in Wellington and they're shifting out to Upper Hutt. And I used to come over here a lot to go surfing because I was an avid surfer, and you know, some of the best surfing in the country is in the Wairarapa, people. Actually, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, no.
No, there's no surf
it's terrible
here,
surf. No, terrible.
Yeah, sorry, I'll get caned for that.
Yep.
Anyway, so I used to come over to the Wairarapa to go surfing, and when we shifted out to Upper Hutt, I said to my wife, the drive was as far to go back to live in Newlands or it was to come over to Martinborough. So we made the move, and since then I've shifted companies and I'm now working in Wellington, so I do the full commute. But yeah, we love it over here.
But you wouldn't go back to living there?
Absolutely not. It's a great city to work, but I love living over here. It's an awesome place.
Isn't it?
And it's like we've seen tonight, all the sort of the underground music scene is just awesome in the Wairarapa, and there actually are places you get to play. Yeah, in fact, plug. I'm playing at Bolter Bar tomorrow in Carterton. Yep, I've got a 3-hour set starting at 3 o'clock, so come along.
Nice one. I actually first met Shayne because I used to live in Martinborough myself, and his wife taught my daughter tap dancing. And I believe Florence tap dances as well.
Yeah, I've been tap dancing since I was about 7, performing since I was about 3, and I still do it. I'm on my last year this year, so that's really good. It's a really good thing to do.
Fantastic thing to do. And when did you first start singing in public with your dad?
I think I first started singing when I was about 7, just singing around the house, and I performed first with my dad when I was about 9 or 10 at our local gigs called the BBC in Martinborough, and I sang a song by Taylor Swift, and I did it to a backing track by myself, and it was really fun.
Very good, very good. So what about your song choices tonight?
Song choices tonight, it's a good question. I guess for me, songwriting, I did a lot of songwriting when I first shifted to the Wairarapa. I haven't done a lot in the last few years because we've got a covers band up and running in Martinborough, Short Circuit, and you saw Kathy and Daniel earlier on in Honey Tea. They're part of the band. And so that and work and everything else, and having a young family, which is getting grown up now, has sort of, I just don't seem to have as much headspace to write songs. So they're old songs, and the first song, Dunga Classic, is about a surfing competition in Christchurch where we ride Dunga surfboards. Really cool guys, and geez, it was written well over 10 years ago, and the first line is 35 years ago, and that was how long. Back then, it was their 35th year anniversary, I think 1999, so that's 17 years ago. My God, I'm getting old. But I thought it would be nice to do something that was a little bit newer, so I did the Earthbound song, which was about my friend Liam, and well, there's lots of other originals I've got as well, but I sort of want to do those couple of songs at the end to get Florence out there as well, because she's been, as you say, coming out and playing live gigs with me since she was 9, and it's sort of just water off a duck's back these days.
So you didn't actually start playing until you were nearly 30?
Yeah, 30, yeah.
That was just 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, I wish.
You've done amazingly well.
Maybe 7, yeah. But,
okay, so have you played a lot of gigs?
I suppose I have played a lot of gigs. I've done a lot of gigs since coming to the Wairarapa. I was lucky enough to get a sort of a summer residency at what was then called the Old Winery Cafe, part of Margrain's Vineyards.
Oh, yes, I remember it.
For my friends Bruce and Robin. So I used to go down there and play every Sunday for a minimal fee, but for me it was more about playing and learning my craft while I was doing it as well, getting into backing tracks, and they can tell you a few stories about how I improved over the years. That was every Sunday for 6 months, and I probably do, I don't know, a dozen gigs a year with the band, a lot of them, not necessarily paid gigs. Some of the best gigs are the non-paid ones, of course, the house gigs and things like that.
Any particular highlights, any particular moment or gig that just,
I mean, we had actually one of our best with the band only about a month ago at the Tin Hut. We played a wedding there, and that was fantastic. And funnily enough, we did a gig about 3 weeks before that at the back of Ruakokotapuna Road, to a big generator which cut out on us a couple of times. This beautiful setting was a four-wheel drive track down to where we actually were playing. That was amazing. But I did one other, I actually wrote a song for IBM years ago, and I worked for IBM. It was their 50th year anniversary. So I wrote a song about that, and I got to play that at their 50th year anniversary to thousands of people.
Wow.
I don't think any of them were actually listening at the time, but I still actually got to play it. So
Fantastic. And have you recorded?
Again, when I first came to the Wairarapa, and thanks to the guys in the original music club like Dave Christopher and Algernon Manson and guys like that, I did some recording, and I put some software on my computer and made a couple of albums. Nothing I ever sold or anything like that, just sort of to give to people. But they were sort of, I don't really do that sort of thing these days. It's more sort of involved with the covers and... But as you know, Coral, you sit around when you've got a guitar and you've been playing a lot, and songs just come along. You start strumming a chord progression and start singing away, but you sort of have to grab it and try and finish it then, or it just gets lost.
Exactly. Recording it is a good way to keep it.
Yeah. Even if it's just on an old tape deck or something little.
Just a wee thought. You got anyone you want to say hello to? The old shout out. Do you want to say hello to anyone? Go on. You got.
Obviously, my mum. And our dog Samson at home, probably watching us, and Murphy, who is not at home. And I think I've got a few friends watching, so hi guys. And anyone you want to say that?
What about you, Shayne?
Not really. I said want to shout out, and someone else took my thunder, to Toby Mills for actually putting this on and actually getting something like this up and running. It's fantastic. But yeah, just shout out to everyone in Martinborough and my work friends who are avid fans. So hopefully one or two of them are watching. I got them to download the app. So
I got a little question about instruments.
Instruments.
Okay, so obviously you play guitar. How many guitars do you own?
I'm not a collector of guitars. I tend to play the ones that I own, but I do have, I suppose, half a dozen. I mean, I've got an acoustic and electric, which are my main two, but I do have two other acoustics and a bass guitar. And I've got a set of drums, which are not mine, they're my drummers, but they sit in my shed, so I get to go out there and bash on those.
Nice. And the guitar you were playing this evening, favourite?
It's a fairly new guitar. It's a guitar that I bought late last year. Unfortunately, my brother passed away late last year.
Oh, yes.
And so I sort of bought it in memory of him, if you like. So it was bought from up in Hastings, and it's a lovely Fender Paramount, I think it's called. So yeah, it's a nice guitar. Yep. and a lot of memories. So yeah, and they're good to have with you when you're up on stage because you can use those to really sort of grind into the songs, I suppose.
Nice one. Yeah. So, what about the first song? What was the first song you ever wrote?
Actually, the first song I ever wrote would have been one that I played tonight. Would have been The Weekly. I think that was probably the first one I ever actually completed. Yeah, again, because I had a friend that I wrote songs with, and he shifted away, and it was like, well, I wanted to keep writing, but how do you go about doing this? I used to come up with chord progressions, and he used to sing. And as I was saying in the intro to the song, I had this chord progression and a bit of a melody in my head, and looked down in the Woman's Weekly in front of me, and it said, "Bizarre fans and sex pests." And I thought, wow, that could be the first line of the song. That had something about Claudia Schiffer further down, so the next line was Claudia's topless again, and it kind of just went on from there. And so that was kind of my first ever completed song.
Nice. Actually, I remember sitting in my kitchen in Martinborough, looking at some sunlight coming through the window and doing the same, strumming some chords.
Yeah.
And I looked up and I had that fridge poetry, you know, fridge poetry? And my sister had put some words together on the fridge, and that actually became the opening line.
Well, actually, a bit of a memory here of Coral. Way back when I first shifted to Martinborough, Coral was in a band called Gingerbread all those years ago, and she used to drive around in this little, I don't know if it was a pink car.
It was a pink car.
It was pink, and it had gingerbread on the side.
Big, giant metallic blue letters.
Not like Coral to advertise herself, but yeah, and I was like, wow, these people in a band, and she drives a car with the name of the band on it. It's like, wow, it must be famous.
Well, it was such an old shit heap that it was perfectly okay for me to just stencil. Sorry.
We're getting the word here.
Oh no, sorry, not allowed. I thought we were past the cut-off hour, and I was allowed to say things like that. It was a dunger. But actually, it did me very well for many years. But yeah, when you've got a car like that, you're allowed to spray paint on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, guys, that was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
And we hope to hear much more from you in the future.
Absolutely. As I say, tomorrow, Bolter Bar, 3 o'clock.
Excellent.
I'll be there.
Well done. Woo-hoo. Okay, so...
Thanks, Coral.
You're welcome, Shayne. So that was Shayne Cater and his daughter Florence, and this is Wairarapa TV's May Music Marathon. Next up we have a band called Inhale, and they are going to blow your socks off.